You know, I think we would all agree that there have been critical times in our nation's history. From difficult economic times to political, emotional, and relational struggles, they affect our society as a whole. But I believe there has never been a more crucial time in our nation than right now when it comes to the spiritual state of our country. With diverse cultural and religious influences and the negative assessment of the local church, the spiritual state of the generations that are coming behind us is on the verge of becoming a dangerous mix of belief systems that could cause damage in catastrophic proportions. There's a story in 2 Kings about Elisha, the prophet. He sees his students in need of food because there was this huge famine in the land, and so he sends several servants off to locate items to put in the large pot to make stew. And some of the items put into the stew were poisonous and began to make the men who ate it sick. They began to exclaim, "There's death in the pot!" And Elijah throws meal into the pot, and the stew becomes edible and satisfies all who are hungry. You know, I believe there's death in the pot of the generations coming behind us. They are hungry for the truth that can give them a life that's happy, fulfilling, and free. And yet they've had so many conflicting and confusing messages thrown into this proverbial pot of their life that they don't know truth from error. So many of them have just quit on it altogether, putting to death any hope for real concrete truth for abundant living. This has resulted in one of the most disturbing statistics that I've ever heard. Only 13% of the next generation will even darken the doors of a church. That means that 87% of the next generation don't want to have anything to do with the church or the things of God. And if this trend continues, the church as you and I know it will be non-existent in a very short time. You know, they say an ostrich sticks its head in the sand while their babies are totally left abandoned and vulnerable to be attacked by enemy prey. It's time we quit sticking our heads in the sand while the generations that come behind us are unaware of the truth and are left vulnerable to every wind of doctrine that floats by to devour them. Maybe you've turned a deaf ear to the cries of the next generation. Maybe you've relied on the church to offer the spiritual formation and foundation that your children would need and have found that they didn't get all that you expected nor all that they needed. Maybe it's just our lackadaisical attitude that's gotten us in this mess. I think it's time that we, the church at large, come together for one common cause, and that is to join the next generations in Christ-centered living. It's time to put denominational differences and personal preferences aside for the sake of our children and our grandchildren, because if we don't, the spiritual state of our nation will continue on its current downward spiral with no hope for the generations behind us. Join me and a host of thousands of other women across this country who are ready to lock arms and start a discipleship revolution for the future of our nation. Simply email me and say, "I want to join the discipleship revolution," and I'll get you everything you need to partner with this grassroots effort. In a world where the younger generation has only seen division, competition, comparison, and the like among us women, let's right this wrong while there's still time by putting our differences aside to lead the next generation to walk with God. The time is now, and there is no one else that can do this but you and me. If the tide is going to change for our children and our grandchildren, we're going to have to do it. God is calling us out, and I pray that you will be a part of helping me make a change for the future of those who come behind us. God bless you.